Hey everybody, this is...
Let's get it going.
Okay. Take 2. Hey everybody, my name is Marisa Lindsay and I'm an introvert.
What's up everybody? My name is Stubbs. I'm also an introvert.
And today we bring you to episode 8-ish, I think, here with Real Estate for Introverts, where we discuss how you can grow your real estate business, or I guess any kind of sales business,
Truly,
using social media.
Yep.
Right? So I know last week we talked about you and overcoming obstacles.
Yep.
We talked about how really any personality can jump into social media and find their footprint, their people, and do well, be successful. We gave a bunch of examples from people that are on our team right now that have very different personalities and are winning the social media game.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions about that from last week, the obstacle thing?
No, I think the biggest thing is still thinking about the emotional aspect of it. Do I have the value to get up there and be on stage and speak to these people? Mm-hmm. It's like, oof, am I going to be criticized? And actually, I've been thinking about this week because we did a Mindset Monday on overthinking.
Right.
And I was like, oof, got me. Because I am, a poster child for analysis paralysis. I will research something to death and still not take action on it. So I really enjoyed thinking about overthinking. Oh my God. It's a problem. It's a habit. But yeah, I really enjoyed thinking through that and really encouraging people to, hey, just take action, get out there and iterate. Because my favorite thing about doing this project with you is it holds me accountable for taking action and not just saying the stuff that I believe, but actually acting upon it as well.
Right.
So applying that meta to the groups or the obstacles, it's like, okay, well, just take action, make it happen. In fact, the limiting of the time is only going to help simplify that overthinking process. So.
Yes. Can I jump in with the story, that one that I told you about the deer?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It applies to overthinking,
It
right?
It's a great metaphor.
It is how I live my life. It really is. And if you ever work with me, you see that I truly do abide by this. And I do. I'm like, we're going to do this. And then I just full speed ahead without even thinking about it. And everybody's like, whoa, wait a minute. And I'm just still going, right? Because to me, full speed ahead until I figure out where I need to pivot. You can't figure out where you need to pivot until you're in it. So I'm just we're just going to go for it.
Yep.
Information be damned. Who cares? We don't need it. We're just going to do it.
It's true. I'm like, hey, have we thought about?
We're just going to pivot. We're just going to shift here.
Okay.
So the way that I learned this story, heard this story, had nothing to do with anything business related. So I was kind of an idiot until I was maybe 30 years old in life. Didn't really, didn't have a lot of direction and wasn't sure about my gifts yet and what I had to offer my life and, the world. And I don't know, I just felt very lost. I graduated high school when I was 17 and then I joined the military right away. And I was in the military for 8 years and was married. I got pregnant, left my ex-husband while I was pregnant, got out of the military all within a span of 6 months. Super crazy. And I'm just going to go back to Ohio and earn my degree with this infant child and figure it out. So I'm there and super poor, crazy poor, cannot feed my son kind of a poor. And we lived in this $5,000 trailer from 1977. It had a lot of great character. It did. It had remember those windows on the bus that had the steel frames and they would pinch your fingers and it really hurt. And it was really hard to push them in to bring them up and down. that's the kind of windows we had in this trailer.
Okay. There you go.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And then when the wind would blow, which it often does in Ohio, I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but when the wind would blow, like our curtains would flow in the wind because the windows didn't stop the wind. So great little house, and just poor as all get out. And for the first time in my life, I'm super panicked. And I go back to my ex-boyfriend from high school. We all know about those situations. Not the best idea. At the time, I kind of clung to that. And so I was with my dad, and we were actually driving I had gone down there to go see him in DC, and we were driving back up to Ohio, back to Bowling Green, Ohio, which is where I lived. And so, in my head, I'm like, okay, we're going to get in the car, and I'm going to, ask him about what he thinks about the situation with my ex, and, what he thinks about how that's going and what I should do with that. And I'm thinking it's going to last the entire 8-hour drive, like that we're really going to deep dive and like figure out what I should do here. So within the first 5 minutes of our drive, I bring it up. I'm like, okay, Dad, so what do you think about the situation with my ex-boyfriend, now boyfriend, and I? And he's sitting there and he's thinking, like, for a while. He's driving, and I'm in the, passenger seat. And he's like, Marisa, do you know why deer get hit by cars? And I was like, what is he talking about? Like, no. Like, what? Like, why? Because they crossed the road? And he's like, think about it. They're crossing the road, a car's coming, danger, here comes danger. And they pause because for a split second, they're thinking about going back to safety. And to them, safety lies where they came from, instead of pushing ahead into the unknown, which is actually where the safety is. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, don't be the deer. And that was the end of the conversation. Within 15 minutes of leaving his house in DC, conversation is over. I have thought about that every single day since then. And I truly do live my life by this. I do not overthink anything. The second I get really scared, the harder I charge across the street. Like, I'm not going to be the deer. Don't be the deer. Cross over. Do not overthink. And it's kind of paid off.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what I try and tell the overthinkers in my life. Like, don't be the deer. Don't go back to safety. Don't go back to what you think is safe. Safety is actually on the other side. And it's never failed me.
Yeah.
Not once.
I think that's good. I think that's a really good metaphor. Just got to get across the road. Get across the road. Just go. Just do it. So
just make the post. So social media, like, I was thinking about this today because so many people are so afraid to give it a shot. They are. I meet people like this all the time. I'm not good at it. I don't know what to say. Mm-hmm. People are not going to want to hear what I have to say. Like, y'all, I hear this every single day from people. I get messages all day from people about this. But reality check. I'm going to give you all a little reality check. That is where sales is going. Actually, it's already there. If you're using tools from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s to conduct your business, you are like, that's gone. Like, I mean, think about it. The last time you used a business, how did you find that business? I can give you a perfect example right now. The person who is standing behind the camera that I'm staring at, I met him on social media and asked him to come to my house and discuss with me what this would look like. Had no idea who he was until I asked him to come to my house because of what I had learned about him on Facebook. Do you have a situation like that?
Yeah. Actually, I was thinking about this, and just this week, I joined somebody's group. So, as you guys know, my main job with Marisa and how we met was through her real estate business. I worked as her TC, still work as the TC for the team. And I got this great piece of software. It's called Open to Close. If you have a TC, tell them to buy it. It's totally worth it. And when I bought that piece of software, they had a Facebook group. So I joined the Facebook group, asked the questions, kind of just watched. I'm a lurker. So I'm lurking, I'm watching. Sometimes I'll ask questions. And it's a really informative group, really helpful. They'll dig in. Well, there was about 3 months in, somebody made this post about this really awesome automation template of like what they send out for weekly updates. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's exactly what I need. And I'm like, I can build that, no problem. Like, I'm pretty good, but I never made the time. I ran into a couple of problems. I was like, how do I solve this? And I didn't really have the time to research it, think about it, and figure it out. That was 8 months ago. And I have been thinking about this template that would solve my problem and make my business better for 8 months. Well, finally, 2 weeks ago, I reached out to the person who posted that. Her name is Josie. She runs TC Optimized. Shout out to Josie. So go check her out. Because I've been thinking about this value she created with one post for 8 months. And it's just like, finally, I reached the point where I'm like, okay, I just need this solved. So I DM'd her, I reached out to her, and she was like, oh yeah, okay, here's how I can get that to you. Option 1, option 2, option 3. And option 3 was actually, I'm opening a group in next week. If you want to join, that's going to be part of it. So here I am, 2 weeks later, a member of her group from a post made 8 months ago from a business group that I was in that she's not even associated with Open to Close that I know of. She just has built her business helping them. And she was right there to help me solve that problem when I needed it. So now I'm on board.
See, you guys, social media is where people find what they need. And regardless of your platform is TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever, like Facebook, whichever one is the one that you feel most comfortable in, that's where people are doing business. And it kind of reminds me of so I was at a listing appointment with one of my agents. It must have been like 3 or 4 weeks ago because this listing is actually going live tomorrow. So 3 or 4 weeks ago, sitting in my car, waiting for Justin to pull up behind me so that we can head into the house. And it's like drizzling, kind of rainy, just a crappy day, a day that you don't really want to be outside any longer than you have to be. And yeah, one of those like terrible windy days too. And I'm sitting in my car, and when you see a realtor, like you can spot a realtor like a mile away. Same thing with military. I can spot a fellow military person like a mile away. I'm like, oh yeah, they're in the military. Because we can sense each other, right? And so I'm watching this guy go door to door in this neighborhood while I'm sitting in the car, going into my listing appointment. And by the way, we have 2 listings on this street, both of which we got from social media and not from door knocking. And so I'm watching this guy go door to door to door. Nobody's answering the door. He's leaving his little flyer, stuffed in there. And I'm like, what are you doing? There's got to be a better way. There has to be. You're wasting your time, number one. It probably took him, if he did at least the area in the neighborhood that I was sitting in then, it probably took him 2 hours to do that, number one. Number 2, I would be shocked if he didn't get sick. It was crappy outside. Number 3, if he had spent that 2 hours on social media instead, I bet he could have hit or connected with 300 times the amount of people that he actually encountered, right? And so there's just got to be a better way. What could he have done? Here, let me brainstorm this real quick.
Let's do it.
Instead of let me get in the position.
Let's get ready.
Okay, so instead of door knocking, what I would have done is maybe Okay, so most communities in Colorado Springs, they have those community mailboxes. Do you know what I mean? Where they have the banks of, yeah. So I would put some kind of a flyer on the community mailbox because people go to that at least once a day maybe once a week if you're like me.
Yeah. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, some people do though. But maybe they're going like once a week. You put that up and start with a value something first. Like at a lot of our open houses, we do a food truck that serves coffee and we put like a $300 tab on there. So maybe something where, free coffee with the address, and then get them to the coffee truck so that you can provide them a free CMA while you're there. I mean, because think about it, when you put a house on the market in a neighborhood, any community, you've probably done a ton of research, looked at a bunch of the homes that are for sale in the neighborhood, and you would be able to speak confidently and give a very quick CMA on their property, at least a good range of what they could sell their house for. So something to pull them into and get them to the house.
Yeah.
Or they could also, you could keep with that idea with the food truck and have them scan a code to get their free ticket for the drink, right? And then collect their information, let them know that if they want a free CMA provided by the time they come pick up their coffee, that you'll have it ready. So many different ideas.
Yeah.
And now, number one, you haven't been intrusive.
Right.
Right? You're not knocking on doors and people aren't like low crawling underneath the window so they can avoid seeing you and having to open the door.
Right.
Number one. Number two, you are letting them know what you offer. It's a value proposition, and they can choose to or choose not to use it. Right?
Yeah.
And it's just so uninvasive, and it is community building. It really is. You're bringing the community together with the coffee truck and then providing your value.
Yeah.
And so that's not social media, but it's something that you can do besides door knocking. Like we can talk about this and mastermind it all day long.
Right.
Or we can just find the owner of the house, have them post the graphic with the QR code about the coffee truck on their local Facebook group, their community Facebook group. That's another way.
Yeah.
So easy. And you probably hit so many more people. With one simple post from the owner of the house into that group, you have now probably reached the entire community without having to door knock even one time. So all of that to say, so you guys, get out of the early 2000s. I'm so serious. It does not work anymore. I know it's scary. Don't be the deer. Cross the road and try it out. You'll find your people, and it is how it is. I feel like it's the introvert's time to shine.
Introverts' time to shine.
You can do all of this from the comfort of your living room.
Yeah.
So I will say, another thing to add on. So, we run our Real Estate for Introverts group on Facebook, right? And we created that group back in August. We have 5,000 members in there. So August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So 9 months. It's been 9 months since we opened up this group. And in that 9 months, we have, of course, met all of the people that are within the group. At least they know who we are, right? And we have conducted classes. We're holding an Instagram mastermind tonight at 6. These are people that we would never have known unless we had this group. And then today, through teaching this methodology, I also have a mastermind with a women's group right after this. And then I'm teaching this course to people in the country of England.
Yeah.
What? Your reach is expansive. These people had no idea who I was until they came across it on social media.
And let me even ask you this. When you started the group in August, could you have imagined you would be an international teacher? Would you have classified yourself that way?
No, I was just a realtor.
Right, a realtor with a good method. And so I think, when you step into this, not only are you feeding into the group and providing value, which you've obviously done, but it kind of lights up different areas and strengths that you didn't even know you had. And now you're just teaching all over the place, literally London, England. Well, I don't know if it's London.
Somewhere in England.
Somewhere in England. Sorry, England. I'm from a small town. They didn't teach me good. But anyway, somewhere in England, but to have that insight, have the group reflect back to you and really see, your strengths, who you are, your superpowers that you can give to them and they give back to you. That's what I love about leading with value, building these groups, building these communities, because it's like a light reflecting a light.
Yep. And leading with value, like what could possibly go wrong if your intent is providing value? Like nothing. Nothing can go wrong. And
as long as you don't stop when the headlights shine on you.
Yes.
You gotta run forward. You gotta keep going.
Full speed ahead. Keep charging. Charge forward. Yeah, but story credit to my dad, Steve Sawyer, DC area. So thanks, Dad. Appreciate that message that has served my life very well. Seriously, turned my life around like from that day forward. And I hope that that story and message also serve you, your life, your business well as well. So that's what I had today. Like that's what I wanted to talk about because I mean, people really do need to see that it's not the wave of the future because we're in it right now. It is happening right now. Like I taught a class a few days ago and one of the members there, I could tell that she was just like not interested in anything that I had to say. Nothing. And I looked at her and I'm like, do you even use social media? And she's like, no, I hate it. And I'm like, this is not the class for you. But I wanted to be like, then what are you doing? Like, what's your, where are you taking your business?
Right.
Because like it or not, this is where the business exists. It's where your business relationships exist. And I don't think that people can ever grow in their business unless they are active on the social space.
That's
so.
Fair.
You have any questions? We are here for them. Join us over at our group on Facebook, Real Estate for Introverts. We would absolutely love to have you. That's where we advertise all of our classes. The one that we're having tonight, it's at 6 p.m. What's today, April 3rd?
April 3rd, so it'll be the past Wednesday when you guys see this.
Oh, son of a gun. Okay, so never mind. It was last week. It went really well. So anyway, we advertise all of our training on there. We would love to have you. And if you have questions, just put them in the box below and we will get right to them.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good week.